Okay, Linda, what are you doing right now?
Good morning, everybody. This is going to be a pot roast. It's not an experiment. I'm actually following a recipe, but I've never done it before. One of the people watching,
The girl next
the girl
door.
next door, asked if I had ever done a pot roast and in the pressure cooker, and I never have. It's just not something I would usually do. And when I do a pot roast, it's when we're taking off for the day. I throw it into the oven and come back and it's cooked. So today I'll do it in the pressure cooker.
Oh, hang on a second. I gotta show people the actual recipe.
See, it's this one down here. Don is shocked because I don't use recipes. So what I need is some oil. I'm using extra virgin olive oil because my canola oil bottle is empty and I didn't feel like filling it. And it calls for water, but I figure beef stock would add more flavor to it. And I need two and a half cups of water, so I'm going to use 2.5 cups of beef stock and wine mixed.
Why are you doing wine and beef stock?
Because this wouldn't be quite 2.5 cups, and I didn't feel like opening another jar. So we'll use the wine because wine goes good with beef.
And the wine you're using
I'm
is?
using a merlot wine. And I've
Good
got
stuff.
an almost 4-pound roast. I'm adding a teaspoon of pepper. The recipe calls for half a teaspoon, but we like a lot of pepper. I'm using half a teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of oil, and it calls for 4 medium onions. I'm using 2 large ones, and I'm using Vidalia, not cooking onions. And I'll get started.
And shooting with the bright morning sunlight coming in is hard.
I'm starting with a frozen roast.
It's going in on a rack.
On a rack. And I need 2 tablespoons of oil. It says fat, so I'm not sure just what type, so I could use my grapeseed oil, but I'll use they also say to brown it, but I don't think you need to brown it. So
The browning does what?
it sears it so that all the juices don't come out, but if it's in a pressure cooker, it cooks it. I don't think you'd need it. So there's my onion going in. And to me, a pot roast always meant potatoes and carrots, and I couldn't really figure out how you'd do that all together because the meat would take longer, the potatoes would come out mashed. So, and I always put the salt around the roast.
Why not right on top?
Because it burns the meat. But,
Okay.
and some people say that it's really bad to put the meat or the salt right on the meat. I have a mother-in-law, and one day she'd invited us over, but I'd already had the roast out and thawed. And so I says, okay, well, I'll bring supper. So I took the roast over, and I was putting the spices on it to cook it there, and she says, oh, and don't put salt in the roast. It'll ruin the taste. So being a nice, respectful daughter-in-law, I didn't add salt to it. And then when she went out of the kitchen for a little bit, I opened the oven door and I sprinkled salt into the roast. And she came back and we had dinner and she was raving about how good this roast was. And you didn't even add salt to it. And I said, you're right, Eleanor, I did not add salt. And she said, it's the best roast I've ever tasted. So, you don't know.
One comment about my mother. When she cooked liver, and she liked to cook liver because it was supposed to be good for us, you had a choice. You could eat it or wear it as shoe leather.
Be nice.
I am being nice. Her
Okay.
idea of healthy was take a can of vegetables and boil the heck out of it.
Be
It
nice.
was mush.
It's Canada Day. Be nice to your mother.
Right.
She's not here. You can afford to be.
Hang on, let me get a shot in there. Okay. And that roast is frozen, straight from the freezer.
So now I put the lid on. And the recipe says, cover, set control at 10 psi and cook for 45 to 60 minutes after the control jiggles. So I'm going to, since it's frozen, it's not quite the 4 pounds, so I'm going to cook it for the full 60 minutes anyway, because that will make sure it's cooked. So I turn it on. I put on my little Dalek from Doctor Who, and when it jiggles, I will start timing it, and I will bring you back when it's ready to come out of the oven in about an hour. Talk to you later.
Okay, it's steaming away and it's got 5 seconds left to go. What do you do now, Linda?
Now you let it.
Your little Dalek is still steady.
Yeah, turn the timer on for 5 minutes. You didn't push it twice, that's only 5 seconds.
I know, dear. I figured that out. Your Dalek just died.
Okay, now it sits for 5 minutes, then you put it in the sink, run cold water over it, and check it out.
Okay, come back in 5 minutes. Okay.
You lift that over and I will put in another fork.
That's the end of 5 minutes. And that's all you do. You just let it run until everything drops.
Okay.
Alright, I'll drop it in a second. Can you still see this on camera? Yes? No?
I think so. Yeah.
Just a second, I'll get the camera over.
Yeah. Still got a fair bit of liquid in here too. It'll make a nice gravy.
That's what it looks like. Okay.
Now I get a piece of tin foil and cover it for about 15 minutes to let the juices all stay there. And then I can make you a sandwich.
Can you lift the rack out and show how much juice is left?
I'll pour it into something else. Because I think I will make a gravy with... Ouch!
Watch the foot. Those onions look done.
Those onions look dead.
Well, there is that.
Okay. Out of 2.5 cups of liquid, I get 2 cups.
Yeah. And it's a bit greasy on the top.
A little bit, but it'll make a really nice gravy.
Okay. So that's a pot roast.
And to make it a complete meal, when this has about 20 minutes, well, maybe 20 minutes left to go, you put on a pot with potatoes and carrots, and if you insist, turnips or parsnips, and make a salad.
You can get me to eat potatoes sometimes. You can get me to eat carrots and corn. If you put turnips in, I'd go out to the restaurant, thank you.
And you'd take me with you. Turnips
Yes.
are not a favorite of mine. I don't mind them raw, but I hate them cooked.
Okay.
But a lot of people, when they make a pot roast, they throw in turnips, parsnips,
I like the
potatoes,
parsnips.
carrots, and my mom always used to cook a can of peas to go with it. And
Okay. Anyhow, say goodbye.
bye.
Okay, you're live.
Okay, it's been sitting for about 15 minutes to rest. And now I will attempt to cut it and make it look good. But since it'll be sandwiches for us, it doesn't have to look all that good.
Hurry up, I want a piece.
I was talking to my son on Skype and told him that I was going to do this video. He says, and I was telling him how I did it. He says, I know how to do that, Mom. I've done it a lot. Which is true, but he hasn't done it in the pressure cooker. But when he was at university, he used his slow cooker to do a pot roast. So. Certainly cuts nice. It's not fall apart, but it's tender.
Pulls apart nice.
And all the bits that fall off, you can put into a bowl, mix some mayonnaise and horseradish or mustard, and mix that together and make sandwiches of that. So, what's the verdict, Don?
Tastes good. Easy to chew.
And it is almost fall apart. It's got just enough texture to it to slice, but it would shred very easily. So, I would say that this was a success, and I may do it more often. So anyway, that is Don's lunches for a while.
Say goodbye.
Bye.